Hello, everyone. Welcome to SAVEDNews TV. We have a lot of things to cover today. We're doing headline news, and there is just so much going on. It is just hard to keep up. So first, we're going to start. Thank you again for inviting us into your homes, allowing us to bring you the headline news. And so I really, really appreciate it. We're going to go right into the news today. Okay, let's see here. You know, when you go to the very last thing. Woo, let's share this screen. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Hope you all having a fantastic day. And we're going to start off with Representatives Omar and Tlaib story. And again, this is alleged because we have no idea what is going on with this. This is what's being reported. We report the news. Okay, so the two representatives are among Democrats tied to the group with alleged links to Hamas slaying. At least 8 Democratic members of Congress share close ties to nonprofit groups that is now subject to discovery in the landmark federal civil lawsuit that seeks to hold the group financially liable for the terrorist slaying of American teenager in 1996. David Boyne was 17 years old when members of Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization, shot and killed him at a bus stop in the West Bank in 1996. His parents successfully sued the network of American-based Palestinian nonprofit groups in federal court for financing the group that killed their son. And the federal judge ultimately awarded the family a $156 million judgment under the Anti-Terrorism Act following a jury trial in 2004. However, what happened is that the group never paid and they filed for bankruptcy. There was American Muslims in Palestine, an Illinois-based nonprofit group that has since developed close ties with the influential Democratic lawmakers, representatives such as Rashida Tlaib, and came into play. The Bowen family alleged in a follow-up interview filed in federal court in 2017. AMP and its fiscal sponsor, Americans for Justice in Palestine Educational Foundation, together are the alter egos of 2 of the stuttering groups that were found liable for the killing. We're going to go on down here and pick up where. Okay, now let's get AMP and its fiscal sponsors, American for Justice, together with their alter egos of the 2 of shuddering groups. I just read that. AMP shared the same core leadership, carried out the same organization purpose, and operated in the same manner as the 2 now defunct groups, the American Muslim Society and Islamic Association of Palestine, the lawsuit alleges. In every meaningful aspect, AJP is nothing more than a disguised continuance of IAP/AMS, stripped of the burden of Boyne judgment. So that's what they're saying, is that this group that was responsible for the slaying of this teenager is now connected to these 2 senators, at least 8 senators. So we're going to need to see exactly what's going to happen from there, because it's interesting that It's just now coming up as far as headline news. Seems like it would have came up before. Maybe it's coming up because of we're getting closer to midterms, and who knows. Now, the second part of what we're going to cover today is something that we're seeing happen all around, and that is citizens uprising against nations. You look at Sri Lanka, now the Hungarians. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to say I am. I'm just going to say this, and just something for you to think about. We have certain laws that has been enacted. You know, there's a big hearing on the 6th, about 1/6, 2021, and we also have laws that's been enacted, touching on the First, Second Amendment rights. So, think, is it really gun legislation laws that we're seeing happening here, or are we seeing possibly that we're also seeing, the perimeters with gates and bars and security. Are we seeing, possibly hoping that we do not have the same thing happen here in the States? I'm just saying, this is just something for you all to think about, because Hungarians are now protesting, Sri Lanka, I mean, all around the world. You look at it, citizens are rising up. People are in poverty. They're getting tired. They're definitely tired of this happening. And so they're rising up. American citizens, gas prices up. You have food prices up. You have rights being stripped. You have a lot of things going on here. And I'm just saying, are they making prior preparations to ensure that you all don't rise up too? Just asking for a friend. But anyway, in Budapest yesterday, several thousand Hungarians protested against the Prime Minister Viktor Orban's government on Wednesday in a special day of anti-government rallies after lawmakers fast-tracked legislation sharply raising taxes for small firms. See, now we're seeing, you all need to see some of the things that's been going on. These are some of the same things that's happening over here in the States. Just saying, we're going to check out a couple of these photos, and this is, and then we'll go on with the article. People are rising up. People are tired, old, young. There's a lot of people, not as many as Sri Lanka, but there are a lot, thousands of people all across the world rising up against government. Is government getting too big here? But anyway, let's keep going. Protesters against the overhaul gathered at the main square outside Parliament before marching to the nearby bridge over River Danube, blocking traffic in both directions between the both sides of Budapest, amid the heavy police presence. Now, also remember, even in democracies, this is happening. We just had Canada happen this year with the truckers. I mean, we're seeing a trend here of citizens uprising against governments. I mean, at a rate and at places that you normally don't see. Now, mainstream media will definitely not be showing you some of this because they want to make sure that you all stay in place and everything of that nature. Nationalist Orban is facing his toughest challenge yet since taking power in 2010 landslide, with inflation at its highest in 2 decades and for it plummeting record lows. The European Union funds in limbo amid the dispute over democratic standards, with the bridge blocked for several hours, choking off one of the Budapest main traffic arteries. His ruling party, comfortably pass legislation in the parliament, defying criticism from some business groups and opposition parties. See, that's what, are we seeing a trend here? I'm not just asking, are we seeing a trend of what government is getting larger and larger and larger? Now, in other countries, they have different laws, and we have to, while you over there, you do what you do. But in our country, the government is supposed to serve the people. They're supposed to be back for the people, by the people, for the people. Government is not supposed to rule our lives. We are to rule government. So, we ask you, is this something that we're going to see possibly over here in the States? Okay, let's get that. This will endanger the livelihood of my entire family, said 52-year-old Kathleen Carolyn Nee, a medical worker who also has a small business advising a company on dietary issues. I just wanted to, I'm not going to read the whole article, but I just wanted to really touch on the fact that we're beginning to see people around the globe rising up. Why are they rising up? Because of government, because government is getting too large, because of poverty, because of inflation, because of recession, because of high gas prices, because of unfair treatment. And since we are talking about inflation, we're going to go on over here to this, because inflation, and when we did our fireside chat the other week, I told you all, they're not going to tell you, but we're in a recession and inflation will be at an all-time high. I told you that they were not going to tell you, but here we are, and that's what's going on. We are in a recession. Inflation is at an all-time high, and they just came out stating exactly what I said last month, even though they tried to assure you, no. Inflation is not at an all-time high. They're lying to you. We're lying. Don't worry. But people, and I know, when you go to the store, when you go to the gas station, when you go to work, in anything that you purchase, that things have changed. You're not stupid. And you can't blame another government on this. So this is from CBS News. So we're going to watch some of this. I'm going to interject in between, because we don't want to run into any copyright strikes issues, but I just want to make sure you see and hear this.
Anyone struggling with daily expenses, especially seniors on fixed incomes. Today's inflation report is not just an economic stat. It's very real. The highest inflation in 41 years.
Okay, did you catch that? When June numbers just came out, we reached the highest inflation rate in 41 years. Some of you all aren't even 41 years old. 41 years, the highest inflation rate. Wow. I'm just saying.
In Delray Beach, Florida, the cost of electricity to keep the AC on is crushing 66-year-old Veronica Bolig. She just received last month's bill.
Okay. Now, this is this lady that just your average person, just like you and I. We're trying to pay our electric bills. Utilities going up. Money's not going up. You're trying to take care of your family. You're trying to feed your family. You're trying to pay rent. And here comes the electric bill. Everything's going up. But wages aren't increasing.
Bill, but she's already a month behind.
The total bill was $592.11 for 2 months.
$592. Veronica has a disability and is raising a granddaughter after her own son's untimely death.
Okay, now that's the story of so many Americans. A lot of grandparents are raising their grandchildren because of some untimely death of a family member or other things that happen. So we all should be able to relate to this lady, because she's your average person, just like you and I. 41-year high of inflation. But you know, people want you to believe something else, but you know what you know that you know that you know.
My Social Security is not getting any higher, but my bills are getting higher and higher.
Too high.
I didn't mean to do this.
Now, unfortunately, this lady is on a fixed income.
Veronica, among the tens of millions of Americans struggling with ballooning prices for just about everything. The cost of housing, shelter up.
Now, I want you all, I'm going to pause on each of these slides because I want you all to really absorb this. I want you to take out your calculator and go back to last year, put in what you were making last year and what you're making this year, okay? And then I want you to take, either write this down or, go back and look at this and take your rent from last year and this right here and go one by one. Rent is up 5.6%. Did your salary rise 5.6%?
Up 5.5% in 1 year. Electricity up 13.
Okay, electricity is up. Let's get out the calculator. Electricity is up 13.7%. Okay.
0.5%. Natural gas up almost.
Now, everybody don't have natural gas. They're not heating with natural gas, but those that heat with natural gas and those that are affected by natural gas, as far as businesses, they got to, if they heat or cool with a natural gas, they're going to need to divert the cost off to you as the consumer. So either way, you might not have natural gas in your home, but you are paying for this 38.4% increase in natural gas.
40%, breakfast, lunch, and
food. Food up at least 10.4%. Now, none of us can go without food. It is what it is. We cannot starve ourselves. So we know that food is up 10.4%. There's no getting around it. You got to feed yourself. You got to feed your family. You got to, it is what it is.
And dinner is more expensive. Food up 10.5%. But this is where inflation.
Okay, gas is up. We all know that. 13.5%.
Is really biting. Gasoline in June cost nearly 60% more than.
Okay, now, from last year, gas went up nearly 60%. 60%. But we're going to talk about some of the reasons why gas went up almost 60%. And it is definitely not Putin, because gas was going up before this happened. So 60% increase. Now, when he came out, I believe gas was $1.90 90 cents. But it has risen more since he's been in office. But we're just talking about the last year. More than 60%. Some are quoting it as 66%, as high as 66%. From November 2020 up until November 2021.
A year ago, oil up almost 100%.
Okay, let's back up, because we didn't see that. Oil up what? 98.5%. Wow.
Up almost 100%. In Maryland, Alex Newsom runs a landscaping business with 45 employees. He says this summer he's spending $3,000 more each week for fuel.
We should be able to relate to this man also. You got to cut your grass, or if you have to get your gas cut, this man went from spending $1,000 a week to $4,000 a week. So what did he have to do? He got to stay in business. He have to pass that cost off to his customers, the consumer. And we, like I said, when we went over the part as far as why people are uprising from nation to nations and different nations, these are reasons right here.
Fuel and oil. You've gone from $1,000 a week in fuel cost to $4,000?
Yeah, the price of mix of oil, bar and chainsaw oil, 50-50 mix for the weed whackers and the blowers have all gone up.
Okay, from $1,000 to $4,000 a week. So, in other words, what's happened is, if you have grass and you pay somebody to mow your lawn, I'm just going to use $100. If you pay them $100 to cut your grass, look to pay $400, or buy you a lawnmower and spend a lot of money on gas and mow it yourself.
The price of diesel, everything's gone up.
Now forced to pass a fuel surcharge onto his customers. There is some good news. Gas prices have now dropped 38 cents in a month. The hope?
Okay, it dropped 38 cents in a month. Gas dropped. That's pennies. I mean, we would go to the gas station and gas would be increased by 20-30 cents by the time you could get from one end of town to the next end of town. So 38 cent drop is absolutely positively nothing. All right.
Inflation may have peaked in June.
There is no question that we still have work to do.
The Fed is going to say, oh my goodness, we've got to stop this snowball from getting bigger and bigger and turning into an avalanche.
So, Tom, let's talk about the Fed. They're expected to raise interest rates.
So now the Fed is talking about it. So now what the Fed going to do to try to bring inflation down? They're going to raise interest rates. They want to make it so that it's not affordable for you to buy as much stuff. So you stop buying, so the demand will not be there. This is the way economics work. Okay, people?
It's again this month. Any guidance on how high they might eventually go?
The market is expecting another 0.75 of a point rate hike this month, maybe a full percentage point hike in September. And then, mortgage rates are not fully connected to what the Fed does, but they are influenced by how the Fed moves. And so mortgage rates likely to move up over the course of the
Now, you have a lot of people down there talking about the Fed rate going up. So that means that the housing market
weeks and months,
interest is going to go up, even though they're not directly, in some cases, connected. Your mortgage and stuff, if you not fixed, or if you're trying to buy a house or something like that, it's going up. Plus, housing prices have exaggerated and gone through the roof, even though they're now starting to come back down. But what you're going to find is it's going to be just like 2008, when when the housing bubble and it burst. And then people were upside down in their mortgage, because prices of homes are going to drop, because people are not going to be buying homes. They're trying to, live, get at least rent something. So they're not going to be purchasing homes.
Okay? Thank you.
All right, people. So that's where we are with the inflation. Like I told you, we had this video when I told you all that inflation, and we were in a recession. People don't want to believe it. They didn't want to, no. And just last month when I told you. So, and even where you could possibly get some type of break, one thing also that we know is that marriage and being married also gives you financial breaks as far as taxes and stuff. When it used to be, you would get a tax break as far as being married and things like that. Well, guess what? No. They are now putting penalties on marriages. So you pay more to file jointly now than you used to. It used to be if you filed jointly, you would be able to file, it would be cheaper for you. But now it's more. There's no, the advantages of being married has gone out the window. As far as, the government, let's destroy the family unit. So here we go. Marriage penalties are discouraging marriage, just like you would expect, of course. Okay. In the eyes of the federal government, marriage is more than a tax arrangement, than love and commitment. And unfortunately, for everyone else, it is increasingly disadvantaged one. The Institute of Family Studies recently reported on how marriage penalties caused a marriage to be a financial drag. The tax system seems to make single people benefit more than married couples. Now, we can look at this just as the tax benefit part, but also, SAVEDnews TV, we are a Christian network. We report the news and everything like that. So, but also you have to look at it even deeper. This is destroying the family unit. because, you take people that says, hey, I don't want to pay extra taxes. I know it's not beneficial to me to get married, even though people hopefully aren't marrying just for tax benefits. But that is one of the things that, marriage, it does. It's supposed to be financially beneficial to you. But what the government is doing is taking those financial benefits away from you, further eroding the middle class. Okay. And even lower class, but it's really, it's like it's an attack on the middle class to pay. But okay, let's go on with this article. There are a lot of factors one has to consider, but here's a hypothetical example. Let's say a couple's joint earnings is annually $200,000. Their final tax liability would be around $25,000, with a marriage penalty of about $3,000. If the couple had filed their incomes separately, their tax bill would only be around $18,000 cumulatively, significantly less. A couple might face a higher tax rate after marriage than they did when single, or their combined incomes might make them ineligible for welfare benefits they previously received. When lower income couples gain access to one thing, such as Obamacare, they lose their benefits, such as food stamps, when married couples are placed on a spectrum of earning of higher income, and they get from the other side and find their tax bills increasing. So, like I said, it's just trying to destroy the family unit. If a lower income family says, we want to be a family unit, let's get married, have kids, be happy, everything like that. Well, now they're penalized. It doesn't matter whether you're upper class, middle class, lower class, there's that penalty. There's a penalty for now being married, the destruction of the family. Okay. Many couples are encouraged to file separately due to marriage penalties. Those who earn less experience more of a financial impact. It seems as though these policies not only strike at household income earnings, but discourage marriage altogether. See, that people know this, Since filing separately seems like the best option, with all the benefits that outweigh the taxes, the solution for many is just not get married. Just don't do it. IFS found that it makes more financial sense for couples to cohabitate rather than marry, adding that 31% of Americans say they personally know someone who chose not to marry for fear of losing a means-tested benefit. And that is the financial part. Another report from the American Community Survey found a 1 percentage point increase in the marriage tax rate of probability of marrying for females with children by 3.69 percentage points. For males, a 1 point tax increase translates to a 0.21 point decline in probability of marrying if they have kids, and a 1.54% decline if not. Okay, so again, there's things that goes on that we are, it's erosion. There's erosion, and sometimes people say, well, you don't be a conspiracy theorist. No, you're not a conspiracy theorist. What you are is looking at the facts and looking deeper. Things are not passed, things are not done just because of what you see. Now, we're going to go over here to talk about the man that owns more land in the United States than anyone else. But what is he getting ready to do? Okay. And we're talking about Bill Gates, and this ties into the family. And we're going to get there. Billionaire Microsoft co-founder laments the direction the world is going and making big promises to change the game. Bill Gates is sad. Yeah, right. Okay, whatever. The co-founder of Microsoft, let's get to the meat here. In a series of tweets, Gates lists what he calls setbacks over the past 2 years, as if to say that our world is regressing on so many issues. He said, several huge global setbacks over the past few years have left many people discouraged and wondering whether the world is destined to get worse. The philanthropist posted on his account, the pandemic is one of the biggest setbacks in history. The war in Ukraine is a gigantic tragedy to the entire world. The damage from climate change is already worse than most models predicted. The U.S. has taken a huge setback in gender equality and women's rights. If this tone and subjects are sad, Gates nevertheless says that he is optimistic for the future. For example, he believes that it is possible to find the path to progress. Okay? He says I'm going to wrap sort of this up and I'm going to summarize. He says he's going to give his $20 billion in wealth to his foundation, the Bill Gates Foundation. Now, my thought is this, my section is this: if he is really concerned about the sadness, the decline in America, why not take all those 26? I did the video the other day regarding Bill Gates and the amount of land and wealth that he has. And you can go to our channel. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can find it. He has 246 million acres. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can go to it and watch it later. That he owns of United States land. And so if you own that much land, why not give it to the people, or don't even buy any more property? Because we want to know why you need this much land. Why do you need to be the largest landowner in the United States of America? Now he's going to give his $20 billion to his foundation, and so whatever they feel to do with it. And he says, I wanted to get to this point right here, where he says, one of the consequences of the new donation is that Gates will plummet in the ranking of the richest people in the world. He currently ranked fourth with a fortune of $114 billion as of July 12th, according to Bloomberg Billionaires. If we remove the $20 billion that he will transfer to the foundation, Gates will drop to 9th place. Okay, so that leaves him with what? 96 billion, please. 80, come on. $84 billion. He'll never spend that in a lifetime. Gates will drop to 9th place of a fortune of 96 billion, just behind his friend Warren Buffett at 96.5. Why is he crying? Okay, don't let me start, y'all. Don't let me start. Who brings half of the funds held by Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. Much of the Gates offering is tied to the stake of Microsoft. Elon is the richest. Okay, so what he is saying, he says, I have an obligation to return my resources to society in ways that have greatest impact for reducing suffering and improving lives, and I hope others in a position of great wealth and privilege will step up for the moment too. What we need you to do is to release some of that land so prices can go down and people can afford housing. So, if you great philanthropists and you are truly concerned about the land prices and people being the greatest impact, that's what you can do. Okay, so we talked about, we're going to move on. I got to check time. I got a meeting. We're going to move on. And this is crazy. All right. Like I said, you all need to be thinking about Why are certain things happening? Not just, going about your daily life and accepting everything that people tell you. So now local governments ban natural gas. Goodbye to the gas range and cheaper heat. Okay. So there's a method to all of this happening, and hopefully we're gonna make time to cover Joe Biden sending our reserves, our premium reserves, to foreign nations and China, which is our enemy. But anyway, we're building this up so you all can see that there's a reason behind things are happening, and to start watching certain things. I'm just saying, look at. Okay. Are you hoping for a shiny gas range for your home? Okay. But how about the fireplace? But if you move to Los Angeles, because the city is phasing out natural gas hookups in all new residential and commercial buildings effective January 1, 2023. But LA isn't alone. It's California's 57th locality to introduce commitments to phase out natural gas. And cities across the country are following suit. Now, during the in one of the videos, if we have time, Biden stated that one of his campaign goals was to eliminate fossil fuels. Nobody believed him. Everybody laughing. Ha 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 ha. He. Everybody laughing. But here we go. We have fossil fuels now that they are banning. In a misguided effort to reduce emissions, localities that pass ordinances like these totally ignore just how vital natural gas is, not only for our border energy landscape, but also for families and businesses. Nationwide, natural gas accounts for roughly 38% of electricity generation, and around 177 million Americans use natural gas to heat their homes and cook their meals. So let me say this. Now, they're going to start banning in January. Well, California is LA. January 1st, 2023, they're going to start phasing out and banning. It says, because the city, let's highlight this. So no, we'll read it right. If so, don't move to Los Angeles, because the city is phasing out natural gas hookups in all residential and commercial buildings effective January 1st, 2023. Okay. So if you can't, as they build new properties and homes, that's going to be a decrease. And so it's not going to be, the younger generation, they're the ones that's going to suffer even more, because they will not have any options other than electric. This is ill-founded. Beyond its prevalence, natural gas is also an affordable source of energy, especially when we just saw the rate of increase of gas and natural gas just a few minutes ago. Residential natural gas is estimated to cost almost 1/4 of the price of electricity, which, according to the American Gas Association, adds up to an average savings of over $1,000 in household utilities. So here we go. Now, why are you going to phase out something that saves the American people, is clean energy, and it's cheaper? Okay. Natural gas is relatively clean energy. The U.S. Energy Information Administration notes that burning natural gas for energy results in fewer emissions of nearly all types of air pollutants and carbon dioxide, and then burning coal or petroleum products to produce equal amount of energy. Okay, I'm going to put this, I should have been doing this, but I'm going to put this in the chat for you all to go back and see this article for yourself. So like I said, their goal is to ban natural gas. But okay, let's look at, let's see. And what else is LA doing as far as gas? Now, not only are they banning the natural gas hookups, they are also banning the ability for counties and cities, the cities, to build new gas stations. Okay, so I mean, really, I want you all to really start. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but really start taking a look at the patterns and the directions that certain things are going. Okay, I want you to look and listen and hear this for yourselves. Okay, let me back it up.
There's a new movement underway to fight climate change. This one aims at reducing the demand for fossil fuel by banning new gas stations. At least 5 Bay Area cities are already doing it.
Well, now
there's a proposal in LA. That's no problem.
Sorry.
There's now a proposal in LA to follow.
Okay, let's move past it. Let's get to the banning of the gas stations.
Putting pressure on the pumps.
I wrote the motion on council to not permit any further gas stations.
At a time of high gas prices and climate change, the city of LA with a proposal, an ordinance prohibiting new fuel pumps and gas stations.
This is not a difference anyone will notice in a city with well over 500 gas stations. I mean, the one we're at now, I could see one 2 blocks away.
If it's that.
Okay, so they're banning the gas station. So does that mean that they can't build it? And what about upgrades? What about when these gas stations get older and they need to be upgraded? Is that a part of the ban? Could you explain to us now?
That insignificant, why do it at all? Some people might argue.
It's a gradual first step.
But in which direction?
It's pretty simple. If you cut back on a commodity that we all use every single day and make it tougher to find, that often means that costs are only going to go up.
An unintended consequence, says the lobby on behalf of oil and gas companies.
Okay, so explain to me how this makes sense, y'all. I need to understand how this makes sense. Banning gas stations, the building of new gas stations. But this is in LA, this is in California. But, as we get into this, I'm going to let you know that, you say, well, that's California. That's California. But listen to me carefully. Gavin Newsom wants to be president. Check.
Of course it's a big of a deal. Nobody wants to pay more for gas than they already do, I mean, it's already outrageous.
Current gas stations would also be limited. No new pumps or repairs. Only electric vehicle charging stations allowed to be.
Okay, so you hear that. So that means no new pumps, no repairs, only electric stations are allowed. So that means that not only, they're talking about, well, safe for the environment. What are they going to do with all these old vehicles that are gas driven? And the world isn't set up for this system. Where are the charging stations for this? Also, who's going to pay for you to get a new vehicle? I'm asking. These are questions that we all need to be asking ourselves for real.
Be added.
There's no plan. Where are the chargers to replace gas stations?
Already, 5 neighborhood councils support the proposed new gas station ban. Echo Park, Los Feliz, North Westwood, Silver Lake, and West Side. And then there's West Hollywood, also leaning towards limiting new gas stations.
I mean, it's like there's no thought process in going through this. How are you going to ban gas stations with no plan? The majority of people do not have electric cars. They do not have, or even so with inflation and recession, people don't have the resources, even if they wanted to change over now. This is insane. I'm just telling you all, this is insane. So when you go to vote, you really need to look at what people are voting for, what their policies are, what their position is, I don't care whether they're Democrat or Republican, but you got to look at what they do and not what they say, because they will be lying to you on a daily.
The city council likely voting on the matter and approving it by end of year. As more cities consider the ban,
Everyone's becoming aware of climate change.
others
Okay, climate change. It's insane. Go ahead.
consider the cost.
If you make commodities scarce, you're going to make the costs higher.
A so-called solution that may bring bigger problems. In the Fairfax district, Tina Azadine, CBS 2 News.
Well, with that in mind, we're looking at some falling numbers.
Okay, so we saw that where the gas prices are going down some, but not enough to make a difference. Lord have mercy, we got so much stuff. It's insane. It's just insane. So now, I'm going to skip a couple things, but I wanted to go here because since we're talking about California, we're going to talk about Gavin Newsom because he wants to be president of the United States. Now, he's not going to tell you this right now that he's looking to be president. He wants to run. If you notice, like I said months ago, and then even in our last fireside chat, when the video when I was talking about return to sender. Let's get this return to sender president. The Democrats are trying to get, I'm going to put, I called him a mail order president. I'm going to put this in the chat. The Democrats now are trying to get rid of Joe Biden. They're using every excuse they can. His ratings have gone down. 90 people 30 and under, 96% believe that the country is going in a bad direction and they are not supportive of Joe Biden. And so they want Gavin Newsom. But see, this is the key. This is the kicker, is that Gavin Newsom is doing some things and people are like, well, that's California. This is happening in California. But if he gets an opportunity to run, which I believe he will, and you all know that he is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. If he runs, and they can get Biden not to run, but I believe even if Biden ran, they're going to put him up. So I want you to listen to this mindset, and listen to what he just signed into law.
Well, it's well known that nearly every industry is held to account when their products cause harm or injury. Well, except one, the gun industry. The gun lobby, well, it spent millions and millions of dollars buying off politicians to shield themselves from any liability. Today, California is going to change that. They can no longer hide from the mass destruction that they have caused. I'll be signing a bill that will allow Californians to sue irresponsible gun manufacturers and distributors. If you've been hurt or a family member is a victim of gun violence, you can now go to court and hold the makers of these deadly weapons accountable. Our kids, families, and communities deserve to live without the worry of gun violence. And with Assemblymember Ting's bill, gun makers will finally be held to account for their role in this crisis.
Okay, people. Now you tell me what kind of sense that makes. I'm just saying. Now, of course, we all want gun violence to stop. There needs to be something done. But instead of tackling the problem, and this is on both sides, the problem, a lot of the problem is mental health issues. Okay. Rather than going into the schools, going into society, putting up more mental health clinics, more accessibility, doing PSAs to bring the shame level down. So there should not be a shame if you're going through some mental health issues. You should be able to get help. You should not be afraid to go ask. You should not be afraid to go tell people that you're going through certain situations, certain things are going on in your life. You should feel comfortable to be able to walk into a mental health facility without being judged, just like you can walk into a hospital. But this is what society is mislabeling. They want to put the blame on different other things. Now, a gun never shot nobody. A gun did not pick itself up and kill nobody. It is somebody behind that action. And I don't care how many laws are enacted, until they deal with the root cause, there's going to be gun violence. So let's say that they had the opportunity and in their mind, all gun violence, all guns was eradicated in the United States. People are violent. And people that deal and suffer from mental health issues untreated, and they want to do harm, bodily harm to a group of people. There's other ways. Even the one that assassinated the gentleman, the ex-prime minister the other day, he learned how to build a gun online. So it makes no sense. There's, bombs, there's knives. What are you going to do? You're going to hold the knife, people that manufacture knives, or if someone makes a homemade weapon, are you going to hold each party responsible for that? No. What this country needs to do is to deal with the mental health issues, the poverty, the things that cause people to result to those types of things. That's the issue, not the gun, not the knife, not the weapon. It's the mental health issues. And until the stigma is removed from mental health, until the opportunity for people that feel like they're going through and they know that they're suffering, but they're afraid to talk to other people. They're afraid to reach out to someone because of the stigma. Until that is dealt with, people are not going to be comfortable with anything, and it's going to continue. We must deal with the mental health issues that plague our nation in order to stop gun violence, any other type of violence, and a lot of other things. Because simply saying, okay, now we're going to sue the people that make the guns, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. So again, we're coming up on midterms. Ask the people that you're voting for. Like I said, it doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, whatever. What are you doing about the mental health issues of this nation? Are you in favor of it? Have you introduced any bills? These are things, people love to treat the symptom, but not the cause. It's like putting a Band-Aid, you got to cut, deep down to your bone, and somebody say, here's a Band-Aid. Here's a Band-Aid, here's a Band-Aid. Put that up there right there. And you gushing. And that's what our nation is doing. People are crying out. There are a lot of mental health issues going on in our nation. And that's why you see an uptick of gun violence. And those that's just, they're just going to do crime anyway. They're not going to turn in their gun. Come on, people. They're not. It's not happening. And I think that we need, as a people, we need to really get real with ourselves and be honest about the fact that we have a problem in this nation and probably the entire world. But since we're only talking about the United States of America, that's what we need to address as far as a nation, is the mental health issues, and stop trying to put Band-Aids on real problems when we know that is the problem, not a gun. A gun is an inanimate object. It's just like this coffee cup. This could be a way I could throw this at you and knock you out, or you could throw it at me and knock me out and kill me. That doesn't mean that the cup manufacturer should pay for your actions because you decided to throw the cup. Just make sense. It's just totally illogical. But Now, again, like I said, watch who you're voting for. Look how they're thinking. These things make no sense. Vote on policy, not what they say, but what they do. So let's get on to the next story. And this one we're gonna save. I'm gonna do a fireside chat just for Biden, because we definitely need to spend some quality time. And then we have a lot of breaking news that's coming out today, and I want to dedicate that to that. So again, during time of elections and things of that nature, when politicians want something from you, what do? And they normally do it to us, Black African American people. They do their world tour of pandering. So this is a situation of pandering gone wrong with Jill Biden. So Jill decides, I'm going to go speak to the Latino community, as she liked to call it, as she called it. Wait a minute, let me get. As she called it, misrepresenting them and insulting and them, But see, this is what happens when you pander. You know what I'm saying? When you pander to people and you don't respect them as people, and you only go to them when you want something from them, then that's the pandering aspect of it. That's all they want. They want they just want you to be there when they need you. So let's go over this article right quick. So in her quest of normal pandering, when politicians pander, they get caught. And so she compared Latinos, Latin Americans, to tacos. And so this is an article coming from The Guardian. We are not tacos, Jill Biden criticized of a Latino American remark. Jill Biden has apologized for her remark in a speech to civil rights and advocacy organizations, UNDOUS US, in which she likened the diversity of Latino Americans to breakfast tacos. Oh, my. Now, are we surprised here? Are we surprised? Are we surprised that, let me see if I can pull up this video. It's pulling up another video that is pulling up my video mail order president. But anyway, let's get back with this article. So she, out here telling the world. Speaking in Texas on Monday, First Lady said the diversity of this community, as distinct as the bodegas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, is your strength. Girl, bye. It's the pandering. And see, when you are out of touch with the people, somebody had to approve this speech. Somebody let her go on stage and say this is okay to refer to these Latino Americans as tacos, as to compare them with a taco. This is what you get when you do pandering. I'm going to leave this article up here for you all. I'm putting it in the chat for you all to go see for yourself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a whole separate video and continue with Joe Biden ratings, how he sent oil, and I'm sure you probably already heard this. I do have time to play this video. Before I do that, I want to, going back to the oil situation, and like we were saying, as far as is there a conspiracy going on? What's going on here? So, all right, I'm going to play this video. This is only 57 seconds. This is some more information that I want you to know. And we're going to get to the other thing. We'll do a fireside chat tomorrow night because there's, like I said, there's a lot of incoming news that we want to definitely share with. There's active shooter alert, legislation that just happened today, and some other things. So I want to wait to do my special dedicated to Joe Biden tomorrow. So anyway, we talked about the oil and natural gas, petroleum, and how things are happening around the world. You wonder why it happened. These are some things that's happening. This has happened in Oklahoma, y'all.
A large fire ignited at a natural gas plant in northern Oklahoma Saturday afternoon. Residents who live within a 2-mile radius of the One Oak plant in Medford were asked to evacuate. The fire department also urged people to avoid the highway near the plant after the explosion. The incident occurred at a natural gas liquids fractionation facility, according to a statement released.
Wondering why these fires or the natural gas things are happening. First, when the food shortages started happening, then there was fires at processing plants all of a sudden. Now that we're talking about oil and it's come out that he has sent our precious reserves that we're very low on to other foreign nations and to China. Now we see that the oil fields are set ablaze. So now we have a reason why these prices are going up. Watch, you'll hear that this is one of the reasons, besides Putin, of course. Putin.
Released by the company. One Oak said that all company personnel are accounted for and it's not aware of any injuries at this point.
Well, I'm happy that nobody got injured.
Hi.
All right. So that is just to show you all, these are some of the things that's going around. And a lot of times mainstream media isn't covering it, or they're not placing it together. Or I could be just wrong. I'm just saying. It could happen. But anyway, I want you all to definitely consider some of these things. I'm going to, we have a radio station, so online. So make sure you listen to our radio station. And I appreciate you all tuning in. And you all have a very blessed day.
Getting bored? Want to enjoy some relaxing music? Do you need to get updated with all the latest news, but don't have enough time to watch TV for hours? Or do you need to get your praise and worship on? We have your solution to your problem. SAVEDnewsRadio.com got everything you need. Listen to SAVEDnewsRadio.com, filled with praise and worship 24/7, everywhere, in your home, laptop, or tablet, on your phone, in your car, and on Alexa. Install the Save News Radio skill on Alexa and then just say, Alexa, launch Save News Radio. The beautiful, uplifting sounds of praise and worship music, ministries, news, and more. SaveNewsRadio.com, created to glorify God and edify the body of Christ.